Produced by Victoire, the Masters of Wrestling gives a special thanks to Jesse Hernandez and the EWF Empire Wrestling Federation, and to each of you, our loyal viewers. And now, on with the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Power and Glory, the podcast, the only podcast that tells it exactly the way that it is. I'm one of your co-stars, the Master Emir, along with my co-stars. First, ladies and gentlemen, he is a WWE legend. He's a former WCW superstar. Also, he is Mr. Pretty Paul Roma.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. And without further ado, Mr. Master Mario Mancini.
There you go,
Yes,
Mario.
he's a master cheesecake maker.
He is right there.
Yeah, he is, glorified, attorney at law.
Yeah.
He's got it going on. And now he's on our podcast when he decides to talk or show up.
Yep, and now he's playing with his Incredible Hulk. What is that? Stress reliever, Mario?
No, this is my stress reliever.
Oh,
right here.
Okay, yeah. Children, look the other way.
So a lot's been going on, right?
Yeah. You guys better get everything off your chest because I'm pretty riled up. So why don't you guys go before I split my
all right, here we go.
Top in half.
All right, but before we go anywhere else, Paul, what do the fans, would you require them right now?
Well, I heard this the other day, and I think I want to pass this message along. You got to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Follow us. Hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing. Just bingo, and you're done.
Yeah.
One little push, like one finger.
Yeah.
And that's it. Your nose. You can use your nose if you want. Your forehead.
Yeah.
Act like a wrestler and headbutt it.
Exactly. And make sure you hit the likes and share the videos because, of course, that helps the algorithm. The algorithm determines everything, ladies and gentlemen. So we need you to be part of our arsenal by hitting that subscribe button, hitting the likes, and sharing with your friends and family. We greatly appreciate it. But there's a lot to talk about, as Mario said. First thing I want to bring up, gentlemen, this is the hottest topic in pro wrestling right now, Karrion Kross. Okay?
Karrion Kross.
Karrion Kross, one of the hottest prospects that's come in the WWE for years. Okay, he's over with the audience. I mean, so over it's like almost Steve Austin status.
Wow.
But for some reason, guys, he gets right up to his contract renewal at SummerSlam. They present him an offer that's obviously not up to par. Obviously, something's off with him. Karrion turns it down, and now he's no longer part of the WWE roster. But what baffles my mind, and maybe you two can shed some light on this, is a guy who's that over with the fans. I mean, he's got that much popularity. He's got huge, he's got a documentary and all this. Why, Paul? Why?
Well, my thoughts on it before Mario, because we're trying to keep Mario suppressed right now because he's about ready to erupt.
Yep.
And when that volcano erupts, we just got to let the lava flow.
That
being said, I think it's a big question of control.
Okay.
They want to show him that, hey, listen, don't care about your popularity. We're the boss. We're in control of this. This is what we're offering you. You don't like it, go somewhere else. Well, you know what? Then go to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Mr. Khan would be more than happy to pick you up. And I'm sure a lot of the fans would be more than happy to go over and start watching AEW. That's my opinion. That's what I'm going to stick to. And I truly believe that I'm right. What the hell?
Mario, what say you? I know, you're about to boil over here, but Mario, if you could just come for the audience. Okay.
I'm close to Roma. I think it's something that he said or did, and the office is hot. And instead of getting rid of him, they wanted him to quit, to walk away so they didn't look like heels. So what was the one way to do that? Give him a ridiculous low offer that'll never take. And that's what they did. It's a work. And he walked away.
Do you think, though, gentlemen, I pose this to both of you, that this is indicative of the times? Because, say this was back in the 90s, Paul, let's go back, like someone like Brian Pillman. You remember when he did the whole thing, when he played ECW, between WWE and WCW when he was trying to get more of his deal. Back then, there was more of a limit, I would say, on the talent that was available to the companies. Now there's so many wrestlers out there. Do you think we've gotten to the point literally where it doesn't matter if you're over, they don't care anymore. They'll just find somebody else.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's you said it best. They don't have to worry about losing somebody. They're, you're not that Hulk Hogan icon. You're not, the Ultimate Warrior. You're not a Steve Austin. You're not a Mr. Perfect. Go down the line. Each and every one of those guys were great, and it's just how it is. They want to show that you don't like it, and Mario said it best, and I'm sure he's right about that. Let's lowball him. He'll quit and be on your merry way. If he doesn't quit, guess what? We lowballed him. We got him for cheap. So again, they think that their shit doesn't stink and they could do whatever they want to people, and that's what they do. And it's a trickle down. Excuse me, it's a trickle down effect from Vince. Let's face it. They learned from somebody like him, and they could care less what happens. We're in charge. We're in control. You don't like it, leave. So he did. He left. Good for him. Kudos to him. And you know what? More power to him.
So then Mario. So I'm going to kick it over to you because a bit of your legal expertise here. So do you think that this whole shift where the persona, the character, no longer seems to be as important as it once was? Do you think that was purposely created? Because I heard this the other day. I heard somebody say that they've purposely made the product move so fast now that it's difficult to latch on to one performer per se, that now the fans are latched onto the whole product. So now they're less dependent on individuals. Would you say that's correct, or would you see that?
You know what? I can only base my opinion on your theory,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch the product. If I want to be entertained, I'll put on a movie.
Yeah.
Um, so wrestling is the WWE is entertainment. I might even start getting away when it comes to talking about the WWE using the word wrestling.
Mm.
So Paradise Alley, that's wrestling.
Right.
Okay. So you know, it's like baseball. A major leaguer went down to the minors for 2 weeks to rehab and came back up, and went into the guys like he just went to Mars and came back, and he's like, you wouldn't believe what they're doing down there.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody is creating this new breed, this new way of doing things. Roma makes popular PAPW wrestlers. But as Roma and I did this week, mainly Roma made the contact, we kind of do something on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think the WWE or TKO wants to get in a position where one person holds the cards.
Okay.
One person is bringing in all the money and everybody's just tailing along with them. Like Hogan said, if you worked my town and you were the first match, you were getting $5,000. If you work in town C and you were the first match, you were getting $350.
Yeah.
That's what Hogan brought. All right. So they're not looking for a Hogan. They're not looking for a Stone Cold. They're not looking for a Rock. They're not looking for an Andre, where one guy is primarily going to put all the asses in the seats. So that's probably why they're moving it that quick. That's probably why they want to create equally popular stars. So nobody feels like they're bigger than the business, or as I was saying, at a lower scale this week, the company doesn't feel like they're pushed into a corner they can't get out of. Rather, they would like to send the message of, you need me a hell of a lot more than I need you. You know what I mean? And you know what? That's good business. Um, you know what? Even at my job, I know my value, I know my worth. Listen, it's human nature. It's human nature. If I go up to you, Amir, and go, "Oh my God," um,
Fans, the time has come for you to flex your appreciation in style. The Masters of Wrestling delivers the most truthful pro wrestling content week in, week out. And now we want you to show your support wherever you go. Power and Glory, the podcast t-shirts. Order yours now. Styling, the podcast t-shirts. Order yours now. To order your t-shirt and for shipping information, use the email address in the description of this video. The Masters of Wrestling. Order your t-shirts now.
it's human nature. If I go up to you, Amir, and go, "Oh my God," I've gotten so much more popular, and you know what? I'm starting to get $50,000 in appearance because of Power and Glory, and you know what? I'm making $1 million a year because I got to be on this podcast every week. You're going to start going,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Right.
I made the House of Mario here. Where's mine?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you always want to keep somebody hungry, working hard, making them feel like, you know what, you haven't reached the pinnacle. You're not that good, you're not that popular, and you get 35 of those guys always striving instead of 34 guys kind of happy to be there and one guy's tugging the boat,
Yeah.
and that's where Roma and I come from.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? One guy tugged the boat, until the Warrior came,
Right.
and then the Warrior tugged the boat, and then the Undertaker tugged the boat, and then so they're trying to get away from that. And I have a big surprise for everybody. Big mistake. Big mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
Huge mistake. You always want that one guy, because the storylines are better.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
storylines are better. You know
Well,
what I mean?
listen, I agree with you 100%, Mario. Yeah, I think you hit it spot on. You know, I think they want to be able to um, take anybody on the card other than maybe the first match, but any performer and be able to put them in main event status and fill the stands. So I agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. I think you hit it spot on. That's what they're
It,
doing,
it, it,
and that's what they're
it,
making everybody know.
and it just can't happen that way because everybody's got a different it factor.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I
listen,
mean?
in
Everybody's
boxing and MMA, you wait for the main event, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that's the big show right there. That's what everybody's waiting for. That's the big match.
Yeah.
But they're kind of getting away from that. They're cookie cutting all the wrestlers. Everybody's the same. They may dress different, but they're all the same. For the most part, a lot of them look the same.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing that's different. There's nobody that really stands out. And I think I think it's a big mistake. But when people are backing you and you're getting X amount of dollars from say Netflix every month, and you're sitting high on the hog, and you think you're a genius.
Well,
Maybe it's just a sign of the times, right?
well, Paul, now it's ESPN. You heard about the deal that WWE put together with ESPN, right?
I didn't hear about the deal, but
Oh.
like take McIntyre.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that looks great. He can work, and they do nothing with the poor guy.
I know. It must be so fresh. What I think is guys like KARRION, who I have a lot of respect for, guys like Drew. You know, everybody here knows how much I like Drew. So much respect for these guys, but they're trying to do it the old school way, and that's a valiant effort. And I tell you what, kudos to them, because not enough of the guys put forth that effort like your generation did, Paul, like you did, Mario. They just don't. But On that note, Paul, I want to bring you in. Do you see that like in Paradise Alley? Do you guys see when you get new prospects in there, are they as competitive as guys back in your day, Mario?
Oh no,
Okay.
no, because they're trained differently.
Okay.
They're trained. You know, they only know what they're taught.
Yeah.
If Roma and I taught them what Fuji did to us, what Altamar did to me, there'd only be a third of the people there.
Right.
They would have quit.
Yeah.
So they're getting taught wrestling, but it's safe.
Mhm.
There's no I'm gonna drill you outside the ring for an hour. So I know you can't even go in there and work and I can teach you because you're gonna be so dead after I drill you. That doesn't exist anymore. Listen, you know, it just doesn't happen anymore. You know, AEW, all they have to do is hold on for about 5 more years and they'll be number one.
Mhm.
They'll be number one because when you sit around and go, hey, what did the TMZ Hogan special do? Oh, it did it better than Monday Night Raw. The numbers are phenomenal. Really? Maybe we should start doing more of those. It's I when they cut this Netflix deal last year, I called it.
Mhm.
I said it's going to be much more than wrestling. It's going to be they're going to branch out. They're going to start mini series. They're going to start all. The wrestling is going to end up being fifth or sixth priority,
Yeah.
and maybe it'll come down to once a year doing a WrestleMania. Every once in a while, they do a wrestling show. They're going to get so far away from the core of professional wrestling. It's going to make it's going to make the time that Steve Austin and Rock worked into the business. It's going to make them what we in Roma look like now.
Hmm. It's
It's going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny part is? I still go by the ring post next to the water fountain at Quest
mhm.
after Altamar got fired, and he said it's okay because Vince doesn't want wrestling anyway. What are you talking about, Tony? What do you mean he doesn't want wrestling? He goes, kid, he wants Hollywood. He wants the movies. He doesn't give a damn about pro wrestling.
Well, now it's come
That,
true.
that was 1984, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was 1984. He said that to me, or 85. Um, so I think the WWE has behind closed doors has much broader aspirations. They have bigger plans than ropes and turnbuckles, fellas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, they
They
cut down all the house shows now, right?
Yep.
yeah. It's more than ropes and turnbuckles and taking bumps. You know, as you could see, Amir, you started off the show with this great, popular, hot as can be wrestler, and they lowball him, and they're happy to let him go.
Yeah.
Listen, would they have done that 20 years ago,
No.
30 years ago? Would
No.
they have done that? Vince
Dude, they
McMahon
sunk
would,
$100,000, which isn't a lot in today's day and age, but they sunk $100,000 into Lex Luger.
That's the way his contract was in WCW?
No. In other words, to get him popular.
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
had the Lex, you know, the bus,
Yep.
you know, and the whole shebang, and they just couldn't get. From what I understood, they couldn't get him over.
No, they couldn't. That
No,
was a
they just
struggle.
he didn't have that charisma
Yeah.
he
that
was supposed
people
to be the
wanted to
next
see.
Hogan.
He was
That's
supposed to be
true.
the next Hogan,
Next
right?
Hogan. So you know what I mean? So Vince McMahon would have gave that guy money. Why? Just so nobody else can have it.
Hmm. Yeah.
You're talking about a guy back in the 80s that if an indie promotion was hot and they were running somebody Vince fired and Vince got a hold of their date, he'd go in the day before, so right next to the venue, and kill that guy's show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how spiteful this guy was. You're trying to tell me he would have just let this guy go as hot as he is, just so he can go on an indie circuit or another company can pick him up? That's not the way Vince runs.
No.
It's Vince's ball, and that's it. And you can't play with it. Now, it's not Vince's ball anymore, and they're killing it. Look, even Vince on that TMZ special, the way Hogan came out with Jimmy Hart with the American flag, and they're like, they booed him, and he said it twice. He goes, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Right.
How did you feel, Vince? I was angry. Why were you angry? Because I wouldn't have presented it that way. I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah.
He
Right.
said.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's the Pied Piper. He's Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does things his way, the way he wants to do them. And you know what? He wouldn't have let that guy go. But you know what? This is an entity, gentlemen. This is a business. This is a corporation. This is not the wrestling business.
Right.
This is a corporation.
When we were in Chicago, fact that maybe Detroit, regardless. Vince came into the locker room, and the agents came in. They said, "Listen, we need a bunch of guys to go to, say, the Rosemont Horizon." And we're like, "Well, that's our day off." It's like, "Well, WCW is running a show, and we're going to run a show, with them." And we're like, "Okay." He goes, "You all get paid." Okay. So Vince ran a show, just like Mario said, just to bury the competition. And if I understood or remembered correctly, I believe it was a free show for the public.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
No profit.
Obviously, no profit, because he wanted to bury them. And he did what he needed to do, because they had very low numbers.
You know what it is, though, as well, because you brought up Vince McMahon, and obviously nobody's seen him for a couple of years. He comes on TMZ.
He didn't look good, by the way. He didn't look good.
He's what is he?
Actually, regardless of what he is,
well, he's got Gigi's birthday, August 24th.
Okay, so it's coming up.
I guess Gigi has his birthday.
They should have you did that on purpose anyway, by the way. You're a Vince McMahon lover. I think they.
You talking about Mario or me?
No, Mario. Mario had his daughter on Vince's birthday. Of course, he was sucking up to Vince. Anyway,
give me the payday, Vince.
Payday. I think they could have put some color in his face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, he looked like if he closed his eyes and you put the camera on him, you think he was dead.
I told you, Amir.
Yeah, it did look
absolutely.
I told him he looked like a sitting corpse.
Yeah, he did look very strange.
Should have put some color in his face. Yeah. Get some of that bronzer and put it on him.
Yeah, he did look. I mean, it doesn't look like Vince. It's not the Vince that we remember from 10 years ago. He's obviously, Tank said he's done some plastic surgery. It looks like something around the eyes or something.
Well, I don't know. That it didn't help. Whatever the case may be, and he looks like he's just disintegrated under that suit, that jacket that he was wearing.
Probably a lot.
Well, I think he's going to be 80.
Okay.
80.
Now,
that's a plus.
Did you see behind him? I think it said 4th Street. I believe that's his new company, right? His new media company. So it's launched. It's out there now. I don't know what they're going to
be around long enough to enjoy it.
Yep. Sadly, for him, for his family,
Yeah, man. Yeah, August 24th, he's going to be 80.
Okay. So.
All right, that's my.
That's your what, Mario?
That's my cue, man.
Okay, Mario's going to take off, Paul.
Wrap it up.
Gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Mario, go and say hi to the Barefoot Contessa for us.
Yes.
All right.
Paul, he's going to see her. Come on.
Of course he's going. He's probably bringing her a cheesecake.
Exactly. He was in the kitchen before we started today. So, come on. But
every time I go over, there's a cheesecake cooking. I'll tell you.
Well, he still owes us a cheesecake. In fact,
he owes you one.
Yeah.
I could just go over and cut into one that he makes if I want a piece.
So, but Paul, man, seriously, like, going back to like what Mario said about like it's a business now. It's almost like damned if you do. These wrestlers, a lot of them on the independents, they're putting all this time and effort and energy into their performance and in the ring. But like you're saying, that's gone. That's done. That if you're looking at the big leagues, you got to be an actor. You got to be a friggin' performer. You got to learn how to talk and everything. That's it.
Well, yeah, that. But my understanding is that they're giving you scripts to read off of,
That's
to
true.
memorize.
Yeah.
So you're not even your own character anymore,
Yeah.
right? You can't get out there and I can't do Paul Roma anymore. They're gonna make me read what they want Paul Roma to say.
Yeah.
And that why? I always ask that question, why? It's not it's not why you liked Power and Glory. It's not why you liked Kurt Hennig, why you like Steve Austin. I mean, think about what Steve said off the cuff. Basically says because Stone Cold said so.
Yeah.
They didn't write that in for him.
No.
You know what I mean? So he came up with it. So what it boils down to is it because they now obviously they own your likeness, but now they own everything? Like
That's what it's
everything that
looking
you
like.
say, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it's all about too. I don't know.
So essentially, guys like Drew, guys like KARRION that use social media as a means to express themselves for who they are, they don't like that kind of stuff because then it's like, okay, well, these guys are trying to be more than us. We'll silence them, sort of thing.
Yeah, again, I think you all said it best. We're the boss.
Yeah.
I'm the boss. You work for me. This is what I'm giving you, and if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah.
And people don't like it, then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go?
Well, he only really has one choice at this point. He has AEW, and that's it, or NWA, or wrestle on the Indies.
Again, can they pay him? Obviously, AEW could, but
Yeah.
can they pay him what he wants?
Well, if WWE couldn't do it, I'm not sure. We don't know what his demands are. We don't know what he wants.
Right.
So that's the key. But I wanted to switch gears, Paul, because I also wanted to talk to our audience out here. I want to send our condolences to the family of Matthew Granaham. Matthew joined us on Power and Glory a few months ago. Paul, you were not with us. It was Mario and I when Frank Shamrock was joining us at the time. And sadly, Matthew has passed. So we want to offer our condolences. It was shocking to me, Paul, because like I said, it's strange because we just talked to this guy, very optimistic, very passionate, upbeat, part of the Shoot Pro Wrestling group. And I got news last Saturday that he'd passed.
Wow. Well, our prayers and thoughts go out to his family for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that it's hard.
Yeah.
On people, and us giving our condolences, saying we're sorry for his loss. It's nice. It's a great gesture. It just doesn't fill that void. But
no,
again, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I just wanted to get that out because, like I said, it did it moved me in ways. Like I said, I never really knew the guy, interacted him with a fair bit in those last few months as we were building stuff for the channel. But you never know. It's like it came at the same time as Hogan passed. Again, I never knew Hogan, but Hogan was a big part of my life growing up, watching him on TV. So it comes at a time, and so many people are passing. It really goes to show, Paul and audience, how you got to take every moment for what it's got, and be nice to people. If you feel like I've started doing this, Paul, if I feel an inkling like, oh yeah, I should reach out to that person, I'll just do it now. If I feel like, okay, an idea hits me, don't put it off. Write it down. Act on it immediately because you never know. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So, that's
so true. I live by that. That tomorrow's promised to no one.
Yeah.
When we were kids, we went to sleep, just planning our next day because, we had no idea that maybe tomorrow we won't wake up. We
Yeah.
always thought, we're going to get up and do this, get up and do that.
Yeah.
As you get older, maybe a little wiser, you kind of, no, tomorrow's not promised to anyone really. I mean, again, you just don't know, right? You go to sleep at night and next thing you know, you're
Yeah.
gone.
Yep, you
It
never know.
happens.
You never know what's
It
coming
happens.
around right in the corner. Now, Paul, I want to, my co-star here. I want to tag out to you right now because there's a lot going on in the world. I want you to, if there's a particular topic you want to bring up for our audience, so you and I can discuss it. I know there's probably something that you've been thinking about.
Well, no, there's a lot of things going on in the world. A lot that, what's going on in Ukraine, and now, you got Putin came in and he's talking to Trump, and hopefully, they could come to some kind of understanding. Again, Ukraine is Ukraine.
Mhm.
Russia is Russia.
Yeah.
Putin, from what I heard, a brief moment of it, Putin's talking about, oh, well, we want all this. We want Ukraine. It's ours. No, it's not yours, number one. And that's why, there's Ukrainians and there's Russians.
Yeah.
There's Italians, it's the way that it is.
Mhm.
This is their land, this is their country, and you've lost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people and soldiers. When does it stop?
Yeah.
Why are people in today's day and age? Why are we going to war? Why is there all these killings happening? We're the civilized people.
Mhm.
Even here in the United States, they're running into stores and robbing stores, and they're taking turns. I watched it on a video clip. 3 people went in and they grabbed some stuff and ran out,
Mhm.
and then 2 people ran in, and then they're still in the store, and then 2 more came in, and then they ran out with stuff, and I'm like, really? This is how it works now?
Yeah.
Just total chaos.
Well,
I just don't get it. And then when somebody goes to try and do something to get law and order, doing the bad thing. Why is law and order the bad thing?
It's the way that everything's been. It's the propaganda machine. It comes back to what we talked about earlier about masculinity. How now that's frowned upon. Now you're supposed to be this, whatever. You're supposed to just accept everything that's given, thrown at you. That's not the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just, it's like if my neighbor across the street hurls insults at me every single day. Am I supposed to just open the door and let my neighbor walk into my house? Absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay. So now you open Pandora's box. I'm going to give you the shortest version and the cleanest version of what happened last night, and everything. I truly believe that everything is geared around the universe.
Right. Right.
The time that you get in your car,
Yeah.
and then you go, oh, got something in the house. And
Mhm.
you say to yourself, well, forget it. I'm not going to go back in the house. I'm already in the car. It started. I'm leaving. And you leave, and you get into a fender bender, or you get into a store and something goes wrong. And you say, and I say to myself, had I gone back in and got that, I would have missed all this, right? Because
Yeah.
technically timing, universe, right? Okay. So last night, I go to the gas station, and as I leave the gas station, I go, oh, I got to get orange juice.
Okay.
So I spin and I go in to get orange juice at Stop and Shop.
Okay.
No problem. Walk in, and I know to park. It's late, so I know to park because they closed these doors over here. So I know which doors to go in. So I'm going to nip that in the butt, right? I got it all figured out.
Right.
This is great, right?
Yeah.
So I go in, I walk to the back. I'm deciding. Why it's taking me so long to decide which orange juice I want, whether it's, I shouldn't say any names on air, but whatever orange juice it is.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I pick one up. I head to the front. I'm checking out. All I have is orange juice. I'm checking out. and I'm on self checkout. There's me and another male,
Okay.
and the person who watches over people checking out that
Yeah.
works for Stop and Shop. And this guy is talking to the worker, and the worker's acknowledging him,
Okay.
kind of like, hey, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. Hey, da da da. Yeah, okay. Right. So this guy, whack job, says, and he's probably in his 33, 36, somewhere in that range.
Right.
And he says, yeah, you know why cops are fat? Because they're always eating donuts.
Mm.
The Stop and Shop employee acknowledged them. Oh, yeah? Yeah. And, they'll be the first ones to go in there and get their donuts. I'm not saying anything. It's not offending me. You know what I mean? Should he be saying anything like that? No, but not bother me in the least. So
Yeah.
now I grab my orange juice and I start to leave. And all of a sudden he says, yep, the only good cops are dead cops.
Wow.
I turned around and he was walking with his carriage and his one bag he had in his little stroller. And I looked at him, I said, I take offense to that.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically gave me the old, too bad, and get out of my way. I'm like, oh, I'm not standing in your way because I know enough. If I block where he can't get out, there's a problem, right? For
Right.
me, I'm
Yeah.
the problem. So I'm like, you go right around me right there. So he starts to walk around me. And he's John. And I said, dude, listen, I will knock you out.
Yeah.
You need to keep going.
Yeah.
And I get oh, you're old. What are you, like 70? Ba boop, ba beep. I said, this old man could still whoop you.
Yeah.
I said, just keep moving. Just, well, why don't you take a shot at me? I said, well, because I'm smarter than that.
Yeah.
But if you would like to roll up on me right now, I'll be more than happy to drop you where you stand. Just give me a reason.
Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to do it. We went out to the parking lot, and he was John, and I basically can't say what I said to him on the air. I let him go. Obviously, he went to his car.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. Like, and it's not like you said it low. You wanted everyone in Stop and Shop to hear you.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? I have friends that are correction officers, police officers, state troopers. I don't need to hear only good cops are dead cops. I don't need to hear that.
No.
But at the same time, I couldn't crack them either because then I get arrested.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't need that. I don't need a lawsuit.
Yeah.
But this is what we deal with today.
Yeah.
These losers. Better words for them, which I'll tell you off air.
Yeah.
But again, it's today's day and age, man. They think they can say and do whatever they want. I was offended by it.
And
I should have just called the cops just to harass the kid.
yeah, exactly. What baffles my mind, Paul, is, where did these people, like you said, 33, 36-year-old, where does this punk get off talking to somebody, right? Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever see Paul Roma in person, live, he's not a small man, right? Okay. And I don't think you look like a mature man, Paul. You don't look like when he called you old man, I don't see what he was thinking. But the audacity, first of all, you're always taught, and even the Bible, the good book tells us, respect your elders. Who taught these miscreants out there? Who raised these people? I would never, when I was going, I see these teenagers now that'll hurl abuse at 40-year-olds as they're walking down the street. I'm like, as a teen, I would never have talked to someone in there 20,
No.
not once. Doesn't matter. They have an audacity, they have an entitlement issue, and it's just getting worse, Paul. It's getting worse.
It's bad. It's bad. Again, really, I was just so taken back by it. And again, I listened to him talk, talk, talk. I wanted to get out of there, but that stopped me in my tracks because again, you know, our police officers have a tough job.
Yeah, they do.
You know, I mean, I've spoken to my buddies, and I'm like, dude, what do you do? He goes, Paul, do you know how hard it is? You know, everybody's carrying a gun.
Yeah.
We have to roll up on these people. We got to be really cautious. If he reaches, we have to make a a split decision. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, how do you do that? Right? I mean, how do you do that? If you wait one moment longer, you're dead.
Yeah.
The guys put a bullet in your chest or two or in your head or whatever the case may be. You know, and I can understand where mistakes happen, where you shoot the guy and he's reaching for something that wasn't a gun, whatever the case may be. I couldn't fathom that. I couldn't comprehend, you know, how difficult it is unless you're put in their shoes. And I
It
don't
is.
think people really take, you know, into account how difficult it is. Like, think about this: you stop a car, let's say on the highway or
Yeah.
on a dark road,
Yeah.
and you walk up to the car. I mean, can you see in the car? No.
Nope.
I put my hands on the steering wheel. I get my window down as fast as I can. As soon as if he pulls up behind me, and I put my hands on the steering wheel. And then when he says the license registration, I'm like, okay, and I'll take my hand down.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this: I've only been stopped in the last, all joking aside, in the last 30 years.
Once. Okay.
That was because I was behind a truck, and as he went through the green light, I couldn't see the light, which was my fault. And I followed behind him, but the light had turned.
Okay. Yeah.
And he pulled me over and he goes, you know what you did? And I said, yeah, the light turned and I went through it. And I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
And it always said to me, it was my daughter, she was a lot smaller at the time. And he says, well, you know, you have her. I said, I know. And I'm waiting to get a ticket. And he goes, I'm just going to let you go.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as you know. And I'm like, yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, you know, think about it. I'm 66 years old.
Mhm.
I've been driving for 50 years.
Yep. It's a long time, man.
50
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
you know. And I've had one ticket in Georgia,
Okay.
one ticket in Connecticut.
That's not a bad record for 50 years, man. That's
50 years.
That's pretty darn clean.
50 years.
Yeah.
And the one I got in Connecticut, the highway was jammed up.
Yeah.
There was my exit.
Okay.
So I went into the breakdown lane,
Oh yeah.
right, just to get to the exit. And the
Yeah.
cop was like on the ramp.
Yeah.
And he pulls me over and he goes, yeah, you were driving in the breakdown lane. I said, I know, this was my exit. I wanted to get out of the traffic.
Right.
He goes, yeah. Like,
You're
and he
honest.
was like, yeah, I gotta give you a ticket. I'm like, okay, well, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
You know
At
what I
least
mean?
at least you were honest, man. There's so many times I've seen that and I'm like, man, actually I could just drive down there. But I just know it's like, you know, potluck, you're always gonna hit the one with the cop on the
Yeah.
corner.
But you know what the thing was? I drove in the breakdown and legit, I kid you not when I say this.
Yeah.
If it was 3 car lengths long,
Uh-huh.
that was a lot.
That's it.
Right there to get off. You know what I mean? It's not like I obstructed somebody and
Yeah.
he just pulled right behind me. I was like,
Uh,
oh boy, here we go.
there we
You know.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, so nice ticket.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a bad record, right? It's not a
No,
bad record at all.
it's a good record. And at least, like I said, I've seen those people who use it, like they'll go in it and they'll drive like half a mile in the,
Oh yeah.
the breakdown lane. And I'm like, how do these people? They never get caught, man. I always
They
just
never
watch
get
them.
caught.
They
Never get caught.
What the heck, man?
Oh my Lord.
I
Yeah,
said,
they
like,
never get caught.
oh, well, you know, well, at least, like I said, you know, thank God that you know, for 50 years, you've done extremely well. So, I mean, that's, you know, kudos to you for on that. Because I know there's a lot of people, there's a lot of reckless drivers out, and more so now because of the cell phones. That's the, you know, it's increasing. But I tell you what, Paul, I saw a documentary last night, actually. It was about Hollywood. It was about the movie business. It was about TV and everything. And this must have been shot back in the late 90s. And as it was depicting all the movies that were coming out at that time. And it was saying, have you ever noticed how violent this movie is? How violent this was, how violent that. And it's true. If you look back 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the level of violence that we were consuming with our eyes into our brain was immense. So they were saying like how back in the day, like in the ancient Rome, like the Colosseum and all that, back then people went from bad to worse. They escalated to the point where they would have when they would throw people in with the lions, and then eventually they would have sexual performances and then kill them after that. They became more and more twisted in their head, right? Because the human condition, without God, you never know when is enough, right?
Right.
So they were saying how if you look at the movie business, all those years ago, how bad it was becoming. And now I look at it now, Paul. I was watching, do you remember the show Twin Peaks? Twin Peaks.
I recall the name, but
Okay, you were wrestling at the time. It was a hugely popular TV show, like massive hit on network. Came out in 1991. Well, in 1991, it was about a murder mystery, but there was supernatural in it and all kinds of good other stuff. It was good. It was not bad. They rebooted it in 2015, came out in 2017. Totally different, Paul. Now all of a sudden you've got blood and guts, violence, people getting their heads ripped off, and none of that was in the original two series at all. So it showed me how we as a society, and this is a warning to everybody out there with kids, watch what you're showing to them. Because I'm telling you, Paul, if you see how far we dropped in 25 years, I dread to think where the next 25 are going to be. My wife even said this, Paul. My wife even said this. There's been some images online where some of the female wrestlers, and I'm not going to name names here, and I'm not going to name companies, but where they've done some sexual acts against other female wrestlers in the ring, live on TV. My wife said, I reckon it's just a matter of time before they'll get to a point where those women will come out topless and other stuff will happen live.
Well, don't forget they did that in WWE. They
Yes.
ripped the tops off the girls.
They started.
They had them in mud, right? They had a little
They started
pool, and so they were seeing how far they can take it. The question is, now you're really you're going to an older audience. No more kids,
right?
I mean, kids have to be X amount or 18 or 21 to go into a strip club, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what's the difference? What's the difference with WWE? If it's not like it's a malfunction.
No.
You're literally pulling her top off and exposing her.
Yeah.
Or when Vince pulled his pants down and told so and so to kiss his butt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see your flat ass. Stop.
No.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But how far can he push it? And when he lost a sponsor, there was another one right behind him.
Yep.
Ready to jump on board. So again, it's about money. It's about your product and what you're willing to do. The sponsor that dropped, kudos to him, but there was somebody right behind him. What happened to all the other sponsors? And so you all think this is okay.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, Paul, we talk about it often. And, I don't, for those of you who may get irritated for us bringing this up, but I'm going to anyway, because otherwise, what's the point of us doing our podcast? It's indicative of the times we're in, Paul. And we talk about this so often. There's so much, and we can make a difference. People, you can make a difference. All you got to do is the way you treat others and the way you act, right? You don't have to follow that path, just because someone else is, like my wife often says, if such and such told you to jump off a cliff, would you do it? No, I wouldn't.
Oh, you know how many times we heard that growing up as kids?
Yeah.
Well, why'd you do it? Doug did it. Oh, okay. So that makes it right for you to do it? No, but he told me to.
Yeah.
And again, if he told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? Right. And that's believe me, that was the number one go-to for parents.
Yeah.
If he told you to do this, would you do it? Nah, I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And but I don't know, man. People they just care about others less that I've seen now. you have Donald Trump, who puts the National Guard out there in Washington to
Yep.
try and stop the shootings, like the murders, the stealing, the theft that's going on. And then you have, whether they're whatever they are, the opposite of what he wants, the Democrats or the liberals or whoever they are. You have them, bad mouthing him. He's trying to save people's lives for the most part. Keep law and order, and you're knocking this guy. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why don't you want the same thing? Why don't you want safety? Why don't you want safety for your kids? Why? Because you're up on the hill behind a wall, because you got security that has to be with you all the time, so you're not worried.
All right.
We don't have security.
Yeah.
And we don't have a 10, 20-foot wall that we can hide behind with all kinds of alarms and cameras and all that other stuff, locked gates. What the hell's going on with these people? And these are the people running our country.
It's easy, Paul. It's like someone with money. It's easy for them to say, "Oh, don't worry, things will get better." Well, yeah, because you've got an unlimited cash supply in the bank, but that person doesn't. So yeah, there's a lot of disingenuous comments that are thrown around. Like you said, some of these celebrities too that come out and they love to talk politics and social, economic, climate problem. And they're actors. Number one, remember that, ladies and gentlemen, they're just actors. They're not physicists, scientists, and everything else. But they love to come out and, again, like you said, Paul, from their pedestal and tell the little people, the peons, how it's all fine. It's not fine. We are not in a good, we as a society have to do something, but we do have to respect rules. And as you were saying that, Paul, like about, the word liberal, if we were to look at it, the definitionary in the dictionary, to be liberal, just liberating, like whatever's, whatever happens, do whatever, right? Okay, which actually goes back to, believe it or not, Paul, there was a Satanist called Aleister Crowley, and he wrote a book, and he was against like all the rules of Christianity, and he wrote a book, and his whole thing was "do what thou wilt," which meant do whatever you want. So it was the only forms of being a liberal. So, but I say to people like that, Paul, and I think about it like this: everybody follows rules, right? If you go to the bathroom, right? Sorry to be crude, but you wipe your ass, right? So the people, so what they're saying is, don't wipe your ass because just to be liberal, just to do whatever you want. No, there are certain rules that we have to uphold. And to the point when that gentleman was talking about the law, right? Talking about cops last night to you. That he can't imagine like what a world would be like without cops. He'd be in hell, right?
The first person he's going to call is a cop.
Right, exactly.
If I beat his ass,
right,
he would have jumped on the phone with was 911.
Exactly.
Well, why do you need a cop? You're a tough guy.
Yeah.
Whooped your butt. Who you calling? The police? Hell, I should have whooped them, handed them my phone and said, call 911.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You don't like cops. Let me take it back.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen, if there were no cameras, I know for a fact it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
I hate to be that person. I hate to throw it out there on the podcast.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. I respect people. I respect law enforcement. I respect our military. That's how I was brought up. You respect people.
Yeah.
He didn't have to spout out for me to hear it and other people to hear it. It wasn't a conversation between us. He was being an ass that he was. He's just a loser is what he was.
Mm-hmm.
And if I told you what I told him outside, our audience would laugh to no end. He had no comeback for what I said to him. And if he was so tough, he would have rolled right up in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have taken me all joking aside, and I'm not a tough guy. All of 3 seconds, he'd have been looking up at the sky.
Oh yeah.
That would have been it. Done. I would have mopped him.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
And then go call your cops now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's exactly who you're going to call. But it's people like that that really need to get their ass whooped.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, essentially, yeah, like you said, Paul. I mean, and going back again to the beginning of the show when we talked about the topic of the way guys were, the way Vince was with competition. You have to, and even with yourself, like I said, I think, even with oneself. I know you, Paul, you're always trying to be better than you were prior, right? And whatever the situation was. I follow the same way. My dad, is the same way. And I don't understand where the culture got away from that as being unhealthy. It's actually unhealthy to not compete with yourself, to not try and be better. That's an unhealthy move.
Right, but you got to remember something. To not be that way
Mhm.
is a lot easier for these people.
Yeah.
And when I say these people, they know who they are,
Yeah.
right? Think about this.
Yeah.
You get up,
Yeah.
you go to work.
Yep.
You bust your butt because you
Yep.
want to be the best at what you're doing.
Yep.
Okay. And so on and so forth. They get up, they have no intention of going to work. Maybe they're collecting a check from the government.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm talking about, being on welfare or something like that. Right? They're not making an effort to better their life.
No.
There's the difference. They don't care. Why not be the way that they are? They're getting everything handed to them for free anyway.
Yeah.
You're the one that knows the value of the dollar because you got to go and work for it every day.
Yep.
That's the difference. That's that's the melting pot right there. That's what separates you and me from them. Right? I still don't hold ill will against them. You know what I mean? I don't know who those people, who the thems are until they open their mouth and tell me who they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want to better yourself?
Right.
I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Trying to do better, trying to, wear, nice, clean clothes and, maybe get a vehicle of some sort that moves you from point A to point B to make your life easier instead of taking public transportation. Now, maybe public transportation is the way for you to go.
Yeah.
Nothing against that, right?
Yeah.
That's why we have it.
Yeah.
Make your life easier.
Yeah.
But there's some people that have to use it because they can't afford to purchase a car and pay for insurance and the taxes on it. I don't hold anything against them. They got it harder than I do.
Yeah.
Because they got to take public transportation.
Yeah.
Me, I can walk out, get in my car, and I drive to where I need to go.
Yeah.
They don't have that luxury. I don't knock anybody for that. I don't. Again, you touched on it. I think people think that they can do and say whatever they want, and that's why I use the term. I take offense to what you said.
Yeah. And I'm glad you did, Paul. And I know you would anyway. I mean, it's just, I would too, because I've been around situations like that where I've caught the tail end of somebody, going off at the mouth somewhere so everybody can hear them. And it's like, really, like I said, again, if you don't have something good to say, shut up. That's the bottom line, right? Just say it like that. Shut up, right?
Right.
There's no point.
And what were you trying to gain from that?
Right.
Seriously. The only good cop is the dead cop, or good cops are dead cops. What you gain from that?
Yeah, yeah.
You were talking, trying to let people hear you, obviously, because you're speaking really loud.
Yeah.
So there was me immediately there, and the worker that was immediately there. Okay. So it wasn't enough that you said all cops do are eat donuts, and that's why they're all fat. You ever notice? They're all fat. Okay, so that wasn't enough.
Right. Yeah.
Now you came over. You had to come over the top. But again,
Yeah.
and I would have loved to have seen it. If it was like a reality show where you go up to the guy, you knock him down, right? He starts crying like a little baby he is because he's no tough guy.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He calls 911.
Right. Yeah. The irony.
And then you got it on video going, oh, here you go, officer. Take a look at what Mr. Numbnuts over here said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You still want to help him?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they'll think
You
twice.
should be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, and it's the same thing, Paul. I wanted to say this at the top of the hour, but I completely forgot. It's like people even here on YouTube, on the good old world of YouTube. Sometimes we get the odd comments that come in, and I happen to read one, and this one got me. It was I'd put out an image because, of course, you know, Delirium. We had an encounter with the Rhodes boys the other week, so I put it on our posts. I got some footage from that, and someone wrote back. Is that Adam Rose? Meaning me. Is that Adam Rose? Adam Rose was a wrestler in WWE whom I look nothing like, right? But the point is, Paul, is it clearly says the Master Emir with Delirium, right? It says it right there. It's like someone else put a comment right here, and I'm venting here, folks. For some of the obviously our loyal fans, I'm not venting at you. Someone else wrote before. He said, "Oh, something about the guy who was talking to Rico." My name's on the screen. What the heck? Can't you read? It says the Master Emir. I mean, I say it at the top of every bloody episode. They just say it, Paul, just to piss you off. That's what it is. So to that guy who called me Adam Rose, no, I'm not Adam Rose, but my uncle is called Paul. I'll leave you to ponder that one. All right. So anyway,
Oh,
but that's legit, by the way, Paul. My uncle is Paul. He's legitimately called Paul. But you get what I'm going at with that. I'm sure you do. Maybe this guy doesn't. But anyway. So, Paul, it's been a great episode. Paul, we're going to get Paul London back with us next week to do part 3
beautiful.
of the SmackDown. I still haven't got a hold of Mike McGurk. I'm going to have to give Mike I'm going to have to give you her number because she's talked to me back and forth. And then she, I guess something happened, but I'm gonna have to have Paul. I'm gonna have to have you call her. She'll,
Maybe, yeah, maybe it was something I said.
I don't know. I don't think so. Because the last thing she said to me was, "Man, I really love Paul. Tell him I say hello. I miss him and Mario." So she was all fine. So I was like,
Listen, she was always a pleasant, very straightforward, and very decent woman.
"Yeah,
Back in the day,
yeah,
always liked her because I have respect for her.
yeah, yeah."
And I still have respect for her.
Oh yeah, she's so kind in her text messages. Always, God bless you. Hello, Emir. You know, she addresses me by name, unlike that guy who responded on YouTube. But, it's like but yeah, she's so I can't wait to get her on the show, and we got some other big guests coming up too. So I'm working on a couple of other names that have never joined us before. So, and then we got to work on Steve. We got to get Steve on the
Stephen
show.
Lee, got to get Stephen Lee.
Stephen Lee, you got to contact him.
Yeah.
And then Scott from what is it? The promotions. Oh God, Scott Wilder. Gotta
Okay.
get Scott too. So
Okay.
but I'll leave that in your court. All right. So any closing statement, Paul?
Hit that subscribe button. Share with everybody. Share. That takes you no time. And we love you for being on our show, listening, and we're gonna keep bringing it to you.
Yep. Thank you so much. Like Paul said, we love you. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you to all our subscribers. Again, a shout out to Matthew Jacobs in Canada. Paul, you're going to be meeting Matthew on the 20th of September. He's going to be coming up there. In fact, he proposed something to me before we get off the air here. He said, "You know what? Okay." He said that he would be willing to take a Paul Roma knife edge chop, right? A certain amount of the chops from you. So I should do a challenge on here or something. So I'll figure out the details. Maybe we'll talk more about it next week. But he wants to see if he can handle a Paul Roma chop to the chest. So you're going to have to whack.
Well, the big question should be: is he willing to come into Connecticut?
Yeah.
To my wrestling school and take the Paul Roma elbow off the top rope.
Damn that! Oh yeah. Well, Matthew, you heard it right here. Okay.
That's the real challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the real challenge.
Wow. So, I mean, I tell you what, they're still wiping up pieces of Alex Wright off the mat.
Well, I did pick him up. Someone said to me, "They go, hey, Alex, somebody kicked out of your move, and or you didn't cover him right away."
Yeah.
And I said, "What are you talking about, dude?" He goes, "Yeah, the Alex Wright match." And I said, "Dude, listen to me. First of all, just remember one thing. I picked him up. if I was going to pin him, I would put my foot on his chest like I did
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I said, that's right. So get your story right, man. Get your facts in order.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Matthew, so we'll figure out that challenge. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure you powerplex that subscribe button. And like I said, you need to help us. The algorithm doesn't help us. All right. So you are the ones that need to help us. You need to share these videos. You need to like them. You need to comment. Like I said, if you want Paul and I and Mario to discuss a topic, write us. Okay.
Right.
I don't want to be talking to a brick wall. These words, I want them to resonate and hit with you. We're telling you to write us and ask us what you want us to talk about. All right. So make sure you do that. And again, like Paul said, make sure you share these videos. You need to be our extended members helping push this channel. Okay. So, and we thank you all. But until next week, this has been Power and Glory, the podcast. Keep seeking the power of the truth. Until next time, God bless.